Morning, everybody. The athlete guide just came out for the Hyrox World Championships. And Theo and I plan to talk today. And since Theo and I are going to spend a crazy weekend together, we thought we'd hop on and just go over a couple of these important things for you, the audience, to be looking for these exciting things. Number one, you can't do doubles and singles. So, for example, our friend Chris wanted to do both. Chris R. They will not let her do both. You can only go for elite in one or the other. She's, of course, choosing the pro. The next thing is, Theo, the running. 3 laps equal 1K. So
yeah, 3 laps.
3 full laps. We don't quite know what that looks like till we get there, though.
Right. They haven't put out a map yet, but I can tell you if it's saying 3 laps, that means it's going to be a lot more condensed of a setup compared to some of the other ones we've seen that are spread out and have like the merch and stuff like that inside of the running area. So it's going to be a little bit more condensed.
Why didn't that? I just scrolled and it didn't scroll. I must have the wrong one open. Hang on. Sorry, guys. What the F? Let's close that one. There we go. There's the right one. So the next thing that's important is dinero, my friend. Now, 75K divided by this equals this. Now, one might think 15 is a nice round number. Nope. Boom. 16. Pow! What do you think? What do you like about this? 16-8.
I actually like the way it's. I think it's broken down a lot more fairly than some of the other competitions we've seen where they have big money on the line. Where 16-8, yeah, it's only half, but the disparity isn't so drastic where it's going from like 25 to 10, right? I feel like it's distributed a lot better. Plus, they're paying out through the top 8 places, which is always nice. You just got to get in the top half and you get your trip paid for.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to look at it, right? It's like being in the money. Speaking of which, speaking of Vegas, it's like being in the money, right? You don't have to make the final table, but if you're in the money, you at least got your 10K back, right? For the World Series of Poker. And I like that up until 4th, you're still profitable, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You paid for your trip.
I like the way they spread it out.
Yeah, you did more than pay for your trip. I love this. Okay, we are going to get some things I don't like. Okay, but let's get to this very, very important, which is all stations except the wall balls will be performed at the sled pull station. Each athlete will have a designated lane where they perform ski erg, sled, push and pull, burpee broad jumps, row, kettlebell farmer carries, and sandbag lunges. Talk to me about that, Theo.
That's huge because it takes all those variables out as far as how the course is set up and the rock zone and things like that we've been talking about in the Discord about as far as, you know, it might be a little further away to get to one station compared to another, depending on how the venue has to be set up just for space constraints. Here, you're coming back to the exact same spot every single time, which will definitely cut down on a lot of, hopefully, mental mistakes, but it'll cut down on a lot of time. So that could set up an individual to set another, you know, break another world record, right? Which we've had happen several times this year.
Right. And you also get additional what do you call it? Transition time, sled pull 4 times.
Yep.
Burpee broad jump 4 times, right? Kettlebell carry, not that big of a deal, but it's broken down 10 trips back and forth, it says.
Yeah, that sounds right. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be set up very similar to how they did the quarantine version of the championships in Germany a couple of years ago.
Right.
You know, and I think the best idea or the best part coming out of this is talk about like spectator friendly, right? You can see you're right in the action the whole time. Even if somebody's ahead by a station or behind by a station, you still get to see what they're doing the whole time.
Yeah, there's going to be some exciting screaming and chasing, etc. Now let's get to what I do not like. A 6:05 p.m. local start for the men and a 6:35 p.m. start for the women. This means that for our East Coast friends, it's 9:05 and 9:35, which is for me, I'm in my bed, but for most people, maybe they're not in bed, but they're in the Netflix and chill mode. They're not on their phones or watching sport necessarily. And then for the many fans watching from abroad, and we know there's a ton, right? hey, I'm so excited. My athlete's there. They're representing my whole country, right? Germany, England. It's the middle of the night over there.
Absolutely.
So I got to say, I'm not a fan of this. And it also means you and I will have a very late night and then driving across mountains
Right.
to Big Bear. But forget me personally. I'm not thrilled with it.
Just the pure length of the day is staggering because they open at 7 a.m. They open for festivities and all that kind of stuff at 7 a.m. So that means they're going to be there for, 14, 15 hours for the actual event. But even if you have the best time for the women's, right? Let's say an hour, that means they're finishing at 7:30. How long is the turnaround usually from completion of the event to the awards? It's usually at least an hour. So, I mean, we're going to be having awards at 8, 9 p.m. local time.
Yeah, so there's this basic idea of in England, in Europe, they have the pros go at the end of the day and people stick around to watch. Now, this was confirmed. I just spoke with my friend Emma over at My Zone yesterday, and she confirmed that is how they do it over there, right?
Mhm.
And it's a big deal. Everybody stays. When I was at the very first event, or if it not the first event, my first event, Chicago 2019.
Yeah.
I pointed that out to them when they had the pros going at like noon and an award ceremony at like 4. And I said, they don't really do that over here. They said, oh, well, that's how we do it. But now they've had 2 years of events to know. I've seen the award ceremony at a Hyrox. It's a ghost town. Everybody's gone except for the age group people.
Right.
The fucking vendors are packing up. It's just not fun. And that's if you start at noon and doing awards at 5.
Right.
So imagine at the end of the night, it's just people are exhausted, and I'm just not thrilled with it.
And they want to have an after party on top of it. Beginning at 10:30, 10:35, something like that. Like, I don't know about you, but if I go out there and push myself and I'm up all day and I go out there and just destroy myself, the last thing I want to go do is listen to DJ Khaled yell his name out and play other people's music.
We the best music
at 10:35 at night, where I already feel like I'm dying.
Well, it works if you have a day event and you go home and get the disco nap and hey, let's go out and get some drinks. Right.
How many of these athletes are turning around and hopping in a compact size rental car to drive 4 hours to Big Bear to immediately climb up some mountains the next day?
Well, not a lot of people, not a lot of people, but forget
the crazy
that part.
ones, right?
But even without that, it's not ideal that it's a late event. But listen, that's what we know right now. And more live on the ground from Theo and I very soon.